Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday evening to you all. I hope you guys are doing great out there tonight and had yourselves a wonderful day. And I hope everyone's been having a great week out there so far. We have a ton of information to go over in tonight's video, and the main topic is this winter storm that's going to impact the southern tier of the country. So, the first area we'll speak on is the south central U.S., and the second area we'll speak on is the southeast. So just a quick reminder, timestamps are up throughout the entire video. One of the most common complaints I read in the last few videos is, hey, you missed my state, you missed my area, or are you too scared to mention Oklahoma, this, that, and the other. The South Central timestamp will include Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, portions of Missouri and Kansas, Western Tennessee, and I think I already said Mississippi. The Southeast timestamp will include Alabama, the rest of Tennessee, Georgia, the Carolinas, areas of Kentucky, even Virginia. So just maneuver throughout the video as you need to, and chances are you're going to find the information that you're seeking. Now, we are finally in range where we can show you these awesome graphics from the National Weather Service. So we actually have forecast totals from the experts at the National Weather Service, but just know that this information will continue to change. So as we make a video tomorrow morning, there'll be new information, then tomorrow evening, etc. So we'll break it all down, compare all model guidance for you folks. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling tonight. So this is the latest watches and warnings. So we're really just focusing in on these watches. If you live in this bluish color right here, these are winter storm watches. Now, if you remember in this morning's video, if you tuned in, this was just really in this area. Now it's expanded all the way into western Tennessee, northern Mississippi. It's all the way up into the Boot Hill, Missouri now. So the far most southern county in Missouri now has winter storm watches. So this is definitely growing in confidence that this is going to happen. So the Dallas-Fort Worth area, winter storm watches, all of southeast Oklahoma, all the way up to Fort Smith, Little Rock, all the way down to Shreveport, and northern Louisiana, all the way over to Memphis, Jackson. Almost said Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi is not including any kind of winter storm watches, but Jackson, Tennessee is. Jonesboro, and hopefully you can see your area pretty clear on this map. Now, quick reminder, if we get an upgrade, if we get a change from a winter storm watch to a winter weather advisory, that technically is an upgrade from the National Weather Service. It doesn't feel like it, but it is. But a lot of these areas will upgrade to winter storm warnings from this. And we might even get some ice storm warnings, but I doubt it in this area. It'll probably be upgrades to winter weather advisories or either winter storm warnings. So I expect this to expand into Nashville, Huntsville, Florence, maybe even down to Birmingham, Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa, I said that right. Yeah, okay. Northern Georgia, the rest of Tennessee as we start to get into tomorrow morning. And heck, by the time we're into about midday tomorrow, it could expand all the way into the upstate of South Carolina and western North Carolina, all the way up here into Kentucky. So, but this is what we got right at this second. So let's start off by speaking on the South Central U.S. And we're going to start this all off with Thursday morning. And I know the Zulu time up here confuses people. For example, it says 12Z THU 9. So that's Thursday morning. 12Z, when you see that on your screen, think of that as morning. 18Z, when you see that come up like this, well, that's 15Z. 18Z is around midday. And when you start to see 21Z, OOZ, that's like the afternoon. And then when it starts to go back into 06Z, that's like the overnight hour. So just keep that in mind. But if you really want to know the timing, look over here. And I know it's pretty small, but back this up 1 hour because this is in Central Time and that's showing in Eastern Time. So here it is. South Central U.S., we're starting off Thursday morning. We'll start to bring it into around Thursday afternoon at this point. 2 days from now, okay? Thursday. It's right up on us. Wintry mix breaking out across northern sections of Texas, northeast Texas. Snow's moving into Oklahoma. Snow's starting to move into Arkansas. And this is the latest GFS. And we're starting to get into the evening hours of Thursday. And we're even getting some pink showing up, which, by the way, is freezing rain. The orange you see show up on your screen, that's sleet. Blue is snow. Green is rain. All right, so we're starting to get this, getting vibration somewhere, but we're starting to get some snow breaking out, heavier rates into Arkansas. We got freezing rain in northern Louisiana, freezing rain in southeastern portions of Arkansas, the Texarkana area. And as we continue to move into say the later evening hours. It begins to expand eastward, and let's just go on and progress this forward. This is like the wee hours of the morning, say Friday morning, 3-4 o'clock in the morning. It is now snowing, no mixing issues now, unlike the Dallas-Fort Worth area, snowing into southeast Oklahoma pretty hard. How heavy will the snow get? How far north and northwest will the snow get? I should add. Into like Oklahoma and Tulsa, places like that. It's a big question, but you guys will no doubt be cold enough just to see good old-fashioned snow. There'll be no mixing issues really in Oklahoma. It's just how far north does the heaviest precipitation get. Now, this run really gets some moderate snow up into Springfield, all the way up into Columbia, Missouri, heck, almost all the way up to St. Louis. Light snow beginning to move into Memphis, as you can tell, and then the heavier snow begins to move into Memphis. Little Rock getting hit hard with heavy snow in this frame. This is Friday morning, January the 10th. Looks like mainly all rain in Louisiana, but this could change. I really think model guidance is really struggling with the extent of cold air already in place before this system, and I'll talk more on that, especially for the southeast. But we continue to progress this forward. Look at northern Mississippi. This is an all-out snowstorm. You're barely struggling with any mixing. I'm sure there will be some mixing on the far southern end of the heaviest snow, but this is heavy snow and light. Tupelo, all the communities in northern Mississippi, Memphis, heavy snow, western Tennessee, heavy snow. Look at the snow getting all the way up into Illinois. All snow for Little Rock. And then as this continues to progress eastward, this is getting into Friday afternoon. It's still snowing in northern Mississippi, Memphis, Jackson, Jackson, Tennessee, almost said it. And then it begins to head on out. And by the time we're waking up to Saturday morning, we should have a swath of snow setting up for areas. Now, what about the Euro? Now, I think we do have the latest 18Z Euro. And it should take us through the entirety of the event. So this is new information to me, and we've been timing this up pretty well, thankfully, where we've been getting this new model guidance, so we're not showing you anything old. So this is, once again, Thursday morning, the latest Euro 18Z, fresh model guidance here. Wintry mix breaking out across areas of central and western Texas also. And then the wintry mix, or just flat out snow, begins to move into North Texas. Look at this axis of snow all the way up into Amarillo. The snow's moving up into Oklahoma City, Tulsa. We keep this going here. It looks like the latest Euro really has you struggling with mixing, say, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You know, that orange is sleets, pink is freezing rain. A lot of mixing going on here. This is just snow moving into, say, Little Rock. And then I think the system really starts to kind of get amped up, a lot more moisture involved. It's all rain for southern and southeast Texas, most of Louisiana. And, you know, the axis of that kind of that rain, snow, ice line is really getting close to Little Rock in this frame. But you continue to move it into, say, this is Friday morning. I can tell you that's a big-time mixing run in, say, the Dallas area. Southeast Oklahoma, this is heavy snow. Looks like Little Rock's hanging on for dear life of all snow, but definitely would be all snow in this run. And then here comes the heavy snow moving into northern sections of Mississippi. All snow in Memphis. All snow for, I would say, 75% of Arkansas. I would say on the Euro, it does not get the really heavy snow up into Missouri. It does bring some light to moderate snow up into Springfield, some light snow up into St. Louis. And then this continues to progress into about midday. And I mean, it is snowing like crazy in Memphis. So pretty wild stuff. You know, northern Mississippi still getting snow down to Jackson, Meridian. This looks like all rain as of now. But then it finally heads off and we're done with it as we start to move deeper into our weekend. Now, the latest information per the National Weather Service, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you guys model guidance. And we'll start off by showing you, this is kind of a broad look at the National Weather Service forecast. As you can tell, they're not calling for much in western Texas, not much in New Mexico or Colorado. The real heaviest snowfall totals that are forecast really starts to amp up around northeast sections of Texas, southeast Oklahoma, and definitely Arkansas. But this is kind of the footprint of snow, right? And then as far as freezing rain, it's going for a few 1/100ths of an inch of freezing rain, like a glaze in central Texas through northeast Texas. And then it does highlight this area right where Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi meet kind of in the Mississippi Delta area of heavy snow. I know you're probably thinking, I barely can see this, Mitch. Just hold tight with me and I got you covered here. But as far as snowfall with the latest Euro ensemble, let's just focus on that. And that's what is showing on the Euro ensemble. It has like a couple inch snowfall mean, and say the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we get to a few inch snowfall average on the Euro Ensemble. Remember, the Euro Ensemble combines about 31 members together and then creates a mean or average of how much snow all those members show. So it really hits Arkansas. Arkansas looks like a good bet for an all-out winter storm for the majority of the state. So, for example, in Little Rock, about a 5-inch snowfall average here. You get into the Oklahoma City, Tulsa area, a couple inch snowfall average. In Memphis, 4 to 5 inch snowfall average. And all of northern Mississippi, the same. And western Tennessee, the same too. Blue Hill, Missouri, a few inch snowfall average. And then we look at the latest, say, Euro Ensemble here. And it really notches this south, and it's a lot heavier. So northeast Texas, southeast Oklahoma, south central Arkansas, and then northern Mississippi right up into the extreme southwest counties of Tennessee. That is where your heaviest snowfall looks to be on the Euro Ensemble. Now, this is going to tweak back and forth some. So what about the icing footprint on the Euro Ensemble? I would just stick to the National Weather Service with this. Let's start to look at some of these. Graphics. So a zoomed in look at the latest from the National Weather Service for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I will say they have dropped snowfall totals a little bit, but going for right now about 1 to 2 inches of snow. And I know once upon a time it was looking like more, and I cannot say this enough. This could change. But this is a zoomed in look at the Dallas-Fort Worth area. As you can tell, north and northeast of town, Sherman, Paris, good for 3 to 4, maybe 5 inches of snow, but around the city limits, a couple inches of snow. Now we're going to head a little bit up into Oklahoma City, going for around 1 inch of snow. Wichita Falls, same thing. Ardmore, 2 to 3 inches of snow. So this does not look like a big event for you guys, but I would watch for shifts north and just future trends. We move into eastern Oklahoma. Tulsa going for around 1 inch. Fort Smith here in Arkansas. Fayetteville, 2 to 4 inches of snow. Hugo, 4 to 5 inches of snow. McAllister, 3 to 4. So definitely a light to moderate event for you guys as standards. And then we start to get into I know I say the Texarkana area, but I always say it because of Texarkana right here. I think they call it the Arklatek, from what I read in the comment. But anyways, enough of all that. This is this area right here. Shreveport going for around 1/2 inch. You start to get into the far northwest corner of Louisiana, maybe a couple inches of snow. El Dorado, 3 to 4. Hope and southwest Arkansas, 7 inches. See the big tight gradient right here? I have a feeling that's going to continue to stretch throughout the deep south. But Broken Bow, 7 inches of snow is what they're calling for. Mount Pleasant, up to Clarksville, anywhere from 5 to 7 inches of snow. And then look, Arkansas, they're going for around, this is exact totals. It could be more than this. But Little Rock, going for around 4 to 6 inches of snow. Just south and southwest of Little Rock, maybe a corridor of over 1/2 foot of snow. And then you get into the northern sections of Arkansas and just a few inches of snow. But I think right now the heaviest looks like it's going to be around central Arkansas. And then we continue to move eastward. This is out of, I believe, Jackson. Not going for really anything in Jackson. You get north, though, of the interstate. Greenwood, maybe 1 inch or less. Greenville, maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow. But really, I would watch out for some icing in these areas. Let's look at the ice forecast. And definitely a little bit of ice in this, for sure. And one thing I forgot to mention was icing in this, because I do think they don't have an icing graph pulled up. Come on, guys, that stinks. But anyways, we'll continue to progress forward. It's the National Weather Service out of Memphis. Includes a lot of different areas. Memphis, 5 inches. Jackson, 4. Waverly, 4. Nashville, you can see it on your screen, going for 2 inches, but I think that'll increase. Tupelo, 3 inches. I mean, I could see this area increasing. I'm telling you, northern Mississippi and then northern Alabama, which we'll talk about here in a second. The potential is there for that to be a jackpot area. But that's just some graphics out of this area. The more we get into range, the more that we can kind of show you more. And this is only through about 6 p.m. Friday. Could be still snowing in these areas. Very well could still be snowing in these areas. In fact, if we kind of go back and look, say, let's look at this. The snow's about wrapping up, so it's about the entirety of the forecast. Now let's look at the GFS. Now we're switching it to the southeast now. The latest GFS, is coming in a tick colder than, say, the 12Z GFS. But we'll start off Friday morning, and if you just clicked on this timestamp, 12Z Friday, January 10th, this stands for Friday morning. So we're starting off 7 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Central. Snow's beginning to move into the Midwest, Kentucky, all of Tennessee, just about, I would say central western Tennessee. Snow's beginning to move into the northern half of Alabama, including areas as far south as Birmingham. We'll take it one more frame, guys. We got snow starting to move into the northwest corner of South Carolina, southwest sections of North Carolina. This is around 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning Friday. Snow's starting to take over the entire state of Tennessee, almost Kentucky. Birmingham's right in here. This is a heavy thumping of snow right at the beginning of this. We call it a frontogenesis band, and I'm going to talk about it more as we get into tomorrow, but it's basically a super saturated area of moisture, and basically the entire column aloft above our heads is just saturated, and we have an evaporative cooling and allows for just a heavy front end thumping of snow that can overachieve sometimes. Sometimes you can get a quick couple inches of snow off this, and then it switches to the mixing and then maybe even rain. And I could see this happening for a lot of areas across the deep south and to the southeast. Well, moving another frame. Here it is. This is Friday around lunchtime, 1 o'clock. It's showing some light snow beginning to move into South Carolina. I mean, in this, it shows it as far south as Orangeburg, Charlotte, western North Carolina. And once you're starting to get to that darker blue, that's heavier snow. The orange is sleet. It's kind of just jumbled up, but the pink is freezing rain. This is a heavy burst of snow moving into Atlanta, North Georgia, snowing like crazy in northern Alabama and northern Mississippi. And then the heavier snow begins to move into, say, Nashville. And then, I mean, snow, it's trying to say we could get some light snow as far as like Wilmington in this. And then the heavier stuff starts to move into the upstate. It's snowing, kind of wintry mix in Columbia's light snow up into Charlotte. This would show heavy snow still in Atlanta. And then this is when the mixing starts to really take over. And this is when the system gets very conflicting. It's very tough to figure out. We don't know if this is going to be a straight rain snow thing, or is it going to be kind of dividing line between snow, an icy mix of sleet and freezing rain, or just everything, and just rain. But the latest GFS, this is like 6, 7 o'clock Friday evening, has just an all-out wintry mix breaking out across central South Carolina. This is heavy snow in the Greenville-Spartanburg area. And then it switches you guys from like snow to freezing rain in Atlanta, still snowing in like Huntsville, Florence, Alabama, up to Nashville. Chattanooga is an area I've not mentioned much. I am pulling so hard for you guys because I know you guys, I'm going to say, you guys are the screw zone of Tennessee. You guys get ripped off more than anybody in Tennessee. And if you're tuning in from that area, I hope you're happy I'm mentioning you guys because I always pull for the underdog. And I know Chattanooga, and heck, even Atlanta has not had anything since 2018. But Chattanooga, you would think would be an easier area to get snow, but it's not. It is definitely not. You get kind of shadowed because of the valley between the Cumberland Plateau and the mountains of the Alps. So I think this is a good storm for you guys. I really do. I got high hopes for you guys, but continue to move forward here. I like to give some shout outs to certain towns and cities. Knoxville looks like a heavy hitter. My Tri-Cities folks here in Eastern Tennessee. I like to poke fun at you guys in Tennessee if you follow me on social media saying it's a war between us and Tennessee, but it's really not. It's all love. It's getting old seeing the same areas getting winter weather, and I'm just hoping we can get some here in the Carolinas. Unfortunately, it switches us from a wintry mix here in central South Carolina and like Atlanta and north central Georgia to like freezing rain. So the pink, that is nasty freezing rain. Still all snow, say, in Charlotte. And then we start to get into the middle of the night. This is like, I don't know, like 1 o'clock in the morning. It's all freezing rain in the Midlands of South Carolina and all the way up into the upstates. Getting into Fayetteville, wintry mix. Raleigh, this is all snow initially, and then everybody starts to have to deal with mixing, even into like the Piedmont of North Carolina and South Carolina. The only area that stays all snow is the mountains of North Carolina, hanging on to freezing rain in North Georgia, and then you even switch to rain because of this low pressure bringing in kind of warm air. At the end of the day, the low pressure is just not favorable. For example, I'm having a hard time. If the low pressure actually tracks through Georgia like this in South Carolina, I'm having a hard time believing that this is not just going to be all rain. If that low pressure can track down here, then everybody's going to get in the mix of more wintry weather. And we still got trends to watch for. And my folks up in the Mid-Atlantic, here it comes. this would be a moderate snow event for you guys. So, you're getting into Virginia. This is heavy snow moving into the overnight hours of Friday morning into, Friday night into Saturday morning. And then we got heavy snow moving up into the DC area, the Delmarva. I mean, DC got 10 inches of snow with this last event. Here comes another event for the Delmarva. How much are you going to struggle, say, in eastern North Carolina or, I don't know, southeast Virginia? Not sure. But it as it goes up the eastern seaboard, it doesn't quite turn into that benchmark like nor'easter for the northeast. It kind of begins to ride off the coastline. But that's the GFS. We spent a lot of time on the GFS. Let's talk about the latest Euro. And this is going to be new to me. This is new data, so I don't know what it's going to show. Well, we'll start off Friday morning. Same thing. Heavy snow in northern Mississippi. We got light to moderate snow starting to move into central and even northern Alabama. And then we continue to move forward here. We got a wintry mix breaking out across northern Georgia, heavy snow across even north central to northern Alabama. And then we move it more and more frame here. And one thing I'll tell you before we keep going, the Euro has been consistently warmer, especially for the Carolinas. So we'll have to see what this is about to show here. But like, for example, on this particular run, it wants to just show rain starting to move into the Midlands instead of any kind of winter weather. But I have a very hard time believing that because of the dry air in place. It's going to allow for basically what we call evaporative cooling. We'll go into that another time. But anyways, heavy snow into northern Alabama. We got a wintry mix breaking out across northern Georgia. This is midday Friday. All snow up into Tennessee. And we continue to move forward here. And we got snow starting to move into the upstate of South Carolina. Again, it's showing rain for the Midlands. I just don't know if I buy that. But we'll continue to move forward here. Look at the heavy snow moving into Chattanooga and northern Georgia, all the communities, Helen, everybody up there. And then you continue to move this forward. I'm telling you, I know it shows rain here, but I really think this will be snow. I think this will be a burst of snow and a wintry mix here. And that's not me trying to hype up my own area because I live in that circled area. I live in South Carolina, in the Midlands of South Carolina. But, it's weird to me that it shows snow right here, like in the PD near Myrtle Beach, and it shows rain right here. That's very odd to me. But light snow begins to break out across the Piedmont, upstate South Carolina. We bring it in one more frame here. And to me, it already looks colder. So you're starting to get wintry mix, snow, mixture of sleet breaking out across the upstate, snow starting to move into all of North Carolina. This is kind of more so moderate snow up here in Kentucky, say Tennessee, kind of that darker shade of blue. But northern Alabama, as we're getting into Friday night, some model guys just want to show you kind of mixing with some rain. But you continue to move this forward here. And like I said, this is just a warmer run. The Euro has been consistently more warm, and it might be right. But it keeps it all winter weather for the far upstate of South Carolina, all of North Carolina. Let me slow down. This is kind of just a light snowfall event for the Mid-Atlantic, and we keep this going. And what's interesting to me is it really wants to break out the ice, say in the Sandhills of North Carolina, the PD of South Carolina, and then this continues and turns into just a nasty freezing rain event for, say, eastern North Carolina. Not much of an event for the Mid-Atlantic, but to me, it's a weird look. Like the Euro is just flatter, so I no doubt think that this is going to be like it has the low pressure kind of flying through here. So it's further south. It's a flatter run, and I just think that these areas that show rain, at least initially, is probably going to be some sort of winter weather. Yeah, it's in like the low 30s. So I just think I think this is going to be colder. And if we kind of look at the run, I want to see what the latest kind of runs have shown here. It's pretty much everywhere. It really is. So it's hard to really look at that and really gauge anything off of it. But I really think those areas, I think the Euro is just underdoing the cold air. But it might not be. But this is a solid, moderate snow event across areas of Tennessee, and just a wintry mess across North Carolina, the upstate of South Carolina, and then North Georgia too. But it doesn't show much for the Mid-Atlantic. Now, the latest NAM, and we call it the long-range NAM. We joke on it, but this is definitely not in the NAM's wheelhouse. We got to get a little bit closer. But the NAM and some of the short-range model guides that we do have, and the next NAM will drop in about an hour or two. but just really wants to, and I'm going to move a little bit faster here, but really wants to make this a nasty ice storm for areas of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, and then keeps it all heavy snow up here in the foothills of the foothills of North Carolina, all snow up here in Tennessee, and just a nasty wintry mess. And this is like stopping in the middle of the night Friday night. And the Canadian shows the same thing. The Canadian likes the idea of just a massive ice storm. And then even if you look at, say, and this isn't the best model to look at, I would say, but you even look at the short-range Canadian model, and it likes the same idea. Here it comes. It's just a huge ice storm. That freezing rain is in the pink. It just likes a lot of ice. So what are some of these other short-range models going to show when they come into view? It's a big question here. And, we're not in range really of snow yet. So this only goes out the Friday evening, but they're already going for like an inch and a half of snow in the upstate of South Carolina. A little bit of snow in northern Georgia. It's already starting to pop out some snowfall totals in like the Piedmont, North Carolina. And we certainly are starting to see some snow forecasted, obviously, in Tennessee and northern Alabama. It's very splotchy in northern Alabama. Those guys need to kind of come to some sort of agreement for sure. And then Kentucky, it's showing up. But we do show some like the Euro Ensemble guidance here, and we'll kind of spread it out. I will say that there was a tick south. For example, it is hitting like northern areas of Alabama, northern Georgia, southeast Tennessee very hard with over a 6-inch snowfall mean. A solid snowfall average in Atlanta of a few inches. Remember, the GFS Ensemble combines about 31 members together and then creates an average of what all the members show. And it creates a few inch snowfall average in like Charlotte, even almost an inch in Columbia. And then there's kind of what it looks like into Virginia, few inches in Tennessee, the entire state, a 4 to 5 inch snowfall average, 3 to 4, even closer to 5 up into Kentucky. And it's showing some snow even into the Ohio Valley and even portions of the Midwest and West Virginia. Now, what about the latest Euro Ensemble? It is still running, so we're not going to be able to look at that. But if we look at the one from earlier today, it's a little bit further north. We'll have to see if the run from 18Z ticks south. I'm not quite sure what it's going to do. But if we, look at the footprint of ice, it certainly likes the idea of more ice. The Euro Ensemble and the Euro really likes more ice up in the North Carolina, and it kind of stops right here. But up here, over 1/10 of an inch of ice showing up, a little bit of ice in the South Carolina, and definitely some ice in the northern Georgia. Now, if you look at some graphics, these aren't going to go all the way throughout the entirety of the event, and I think they're just a little off on northern Alabama. I think these totals are going to increase, but they're staying conservative, just an inch in Florence and Huntsville. I think that'll increase. Northern Georgia, this is what it's looking like, and take a look at some of the ices and what they're forecasting. They just do not have this stuff updated, which stinks. And it's not a surprise to me, because I think we need another 24 hours, and then they will really start updating these graphics. Really, as we're waking up tomorrow morning, we'll have a lot of new and improved graphics. But this was updated about a couple hours ago. Nashville, for now, going for 2 inches of snow. I think it'll be more than this. Like I said, the Euro Ensemble and the GFS Ensemble showing well over 3 to 4, maybe as much as 5 inches in these areas. But the National Weather Service always starts out conservative. And then we go up into Kentucky, they have a nice graphic up. So, for example, this doesn't make sense to me. London, Bowling Green going for 2 to as much as 5 inches of snow, but, only going for 2 inches of snow in Nashville, when you guys will see heavier precipitation. So you can tell they're going to increase the snowfall totals for Tennessee for sure. But this is the graphic out of Kentucky. Paducah 1 to 4, Bowling Green 2 to 4. This will be a nice event. It could be much more substantial, say, for southeastern Kentucky. And then we start to move into northern Georgia. I think this will change too. This is just, they're going conservative. I think northern Georgia, I think you're going to see more than this in northern Georgia. But for example, in Trenton, 1 to 2 inches, Dalton, 2 inches or less, Jasper, an inch or less. I think these totals will increase. Atlanta, an inch or less of snow. Do they have anything up for ice? I hope they do. They do. So they got some ice graphics up. And, really Atlanta, all the way down I-20, a few 100ths of an inch of ice is forecast. Atlanta are going for almost 1/10 of an inch of ice mixed with a little bit of snow. That's going to cause some issues. And then the Greenville-Spartanburg area, this is what it's looking like. Clemson going for a solid inch right now, but I think this will increase for the upstate of South Carolina, really the Greenville-Spartanburg. And these totals will definitely increase. And remember, this is only going out to 7 p.m. Friday, so the graphic is not complete here. It only goes out to 7 p.m. This is just when the storm is starting in these areas, and they're already saying, hey, all the way by 7 p.m. Friday, we already should have an inch of snow on the ground in Clemson. So anything for ice in this area, and they don't have the updated ice graphic pulled up. So yeah, guys, let's see if we can catch some updated information on the Euro 18Z. And yeah, we go out to about, what is this? This is Saturday evening. So this is the latest graphic. Let's see what's changed. Not much, a little bit of a tick north. But the run is not 100% complete. But at this time frame, I would say there is a little bit of a tick north, especially for the southern areas. You can see some of the totals drop. So we just got to see what happens overnight. If you wrap up all that, I would say this. The GFS and its ensemble guidance is definitely more so, I would say, snowier for areas further south. It's definitely winterier. That's a word. And then the Euro and the Euro ensemble is warmer. And then some of the short range model guidance is coming in colder. Now, and I'm just thinking about to do this on the fly, and I'm just going to roll with it. So you guys bear with me. I'm going to jump on Twitter real quick. There's something called the graph model. And this model, by the way, hit me up on Twitter. This model, guys, is, let's see if I can make this large without jacking anything up. So this model is, you only can see it in local weather stations, but awesome people like Daniel Bonds here locally in Columbia, South Carolina, he'll post it. And this model did so well. And I know this is only going to show Georgia too. It's only going to favor my folks in the Southeast. This model did so well during Helene. It did awesome capturing that little bit of snow the other day in North Carolina. And it does pretty good. So I'm going to get this in motion here. And here it is. You can see the timeline. And this is in motion. I'm not controlling this. It's just a simulation. So we're getting into Wednesday afternoon. All right. Let's see. Let's go on and speed this up. This is tearing my nerves up. So we're getting into Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. We're starting to get into Friday morning. Clouds begin to increase. Let's stop it here. Look at the winter weather beginning to move in Atlanta. This is Friday morning. Wintry mix into Atlanta with this graphic. Okay, this is kind of just like a mixture of ice and snow. And it goes all the way to the end of the run. And it only goes out to, it looks like around lunchtime Friday, and we got a big thumping of snow moving up the I-85 corridor. Looks like a wintry mix of everything in Columbia, but it looks colder. For example, it shows the pink all the way down to, down to Barnwell, down to Orangeburg. It shows ice continuing for Atlanta for hours. It shows a thumping of snow in the northern Midlands, the upstate of South Carolina, and this is as far out as this run goes. When we get into tomorrow, we'll be in the full kind of wheelhouse of this entire run, but I'm fascinated to see how this model does. I really am. So let's see if we can somehow get this off your screen. I'm gonna have to move my face out the way, do that. So yeah, I want to share that with you guys. It's interesting stuff. But the last thing we'll wrap it up with, guys, is kind of explaining the setup. And we've been talking about this and how complex this setup is. This is our main energy, our southern stream energy. This is our northern stream energy. Okay, I'm going to circle those. Now I want you to watch as these kind of come together and kind of begin to tangle up with one another. Okay, I'm going to get this in motion. It's the latest GFS. Watch how that energy drops down, kind of tangles up with that southern area of energy, and then they begin to phase into, a stronger system, I would say, and then they progress eastward. Okay, so I just want to show you these two main pieces of energy in the atmosphere and how they are kind of coming together and then creating our storm. Now, it looks very odd, looks very strung out here. So I want to show you the energy. Now let's look at cold air sources. And it kind of combines with it also. So main area of energy here. Here comes our northern stream energy combining with this. And then I also want you to watch this little area right here and how it opens up like this. And then you got to watch this too. This circled area right here, this is our 50-50 low. This is a huge trough over the Atlantic. And I think that this is more of an, in my opinion, other people are going to disagree, but I think this is more of an important cold air source for my folks east of the Appalachian Mountains than say anything that's going to drop down out of this area. But anyways, we continue to move forward here. That little northern piece of energy combines with this. Not only does that allow this system to kind of amplify, become a bigger system as it does, area in blue, which is lower energy, lower pressure, which is more energy in the atmosphere. It injects a shot of cold air into this. It creates a more amped up system. And then you see that area right here, kind of connection between blue and blue. This puts a shot of cold air into this system too. It's kind of a piece of the Arctic that drops down, injects some cold air into this lower pressure right here. Now I want you to watch this too as it's kind of fleeting away. It's kind of heading on out. So you keep on going. And we don't need this to go away. We need to kind of stay anchored in place if you're a winter weather fan. But this big area of energy right here in the blue, which is our storm system, and this kind of injection of cold air kind of coming down here. And this is our 50-50 low. This is pivoting some cold air down here. This is around Friday evening, right when a lot of precipitation is coming into this area. So to me, you have multiple cold air sources. Okay, you have this area bringing down cold air east of the Appalachian Mountains. We call that a CAD, cold air damming. Okay, we have a shot of cold air coming in from the higher latitudes, but both of these shots of cold air are not very high end. I would say, or I would call it weak sauce. They're just weaker shots of cold air coming down into this energy right here, and we just need them a little bit. We just need a little bit better. So what I would say with this for the south central U.S., you need what you really need here for this to trend better as far as snow area for you guys is for pretty much things to stay about the same. You would need any kind of northern stream energy to kind of phase with this quicker. Now, if that happens, that would cause this system to amp up or spiking of the ridge, and it would cause a more amped up low pressure. If this could phase properly, say like right into this area right here, then that would be good timing with cold air. It wouldn't allow this system to get really amped up here, and we still have that cold air source into here. I know this is getting very confusing, so I might as well just leave it like that. But what's wild, guys, is we still have 48 hours of still figuring this out, especially for the southeast. So we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to try to figure this one out. There's going to be people that are going to be disappointed. There's going to be people that's going to be happy. And trust me, I'm here in the Midlands of South Carolina, Columbia, the armpit of hell, and it stinks. And I know that the majority of our precipitation with this system is probably going to be rain, but you never know. And I am encouraged by the fact that we have multiple days of cold air out ahead of this system. We have snowpack to the north. The cold air has to travel over that snowpack. Maybe that is being under-modeled as far as cold air by this model guidance. And I think that's the possibility. So we'll see what happens. Right now, I really favor... Let's zoom back in. Let's just kind of, in fact, let's look at this. Right now, I really favor, I'm going to draw in pink here. This area right into here to get the most snow. Okay. Right into here, right into here, right up into here, and probably... And then who knows? We can extend this further up, but I know it's a really crazy area, but I really like this area right here to get the most snow as of right now, what I'm seeing. What kind of icing is going to be with this? So I should have drew that in pink and then the snow in a different color, but I'm actually going to use a different color for the ice. The icing, I think, is going to start to become an issue in these areas. Right into here. Maybe even like getting into this area right here. Now, I know I left off areas of Virginia. I left off areas of North Carolina, but the further we get over here, the more the confidence just gets a little bit fuzzy. So at least for my area in the Midlands of South Carolina, the best thing I'm hoping for is a good front end thumping of snow. It's enough snow to make everything white, and then it can do whatever the heck it wants to do afterwards. So that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. And once again, we'll do it all over again in the morning.